Thank you, Chaz. First question, how many of you even know where the National Interagency Prescribed Fire Training Center is? You two better know. We're now located at Tall Timbers. So moved there December of 2020 and didn't do anything in 2021 as far as training here in the Southeast. I think there was something called a pandemic or something going on. I don't remember. So our mission statement, and you can see what's in yellow. That's what's important out of that mission statement. It's actual field experience and building confidence. That's our two things we really want to get across to any of the people who come through. Robert Trincato, I don't know if he's in here right now. He told us that we had this wrong, and he put it with him on the bottom. So our staff consists of 4 people. We do get detailers in. We've got 2 detailers in now whose names aren't up there. Jocelyn Howell and Aubrey Saunders. They're hiding up in the very far back. They've been helping us as we finally got back into doing in-person training this year. So what trainings do we offer? We've got 20-day sessions, and those are for practitioners. Those are for people who are putting fire on the ground. And they have our agency administrator workshop, and those are for the line officers, the people who actually are responsible for the fire that goes on the ground, but they're not fire people necessarily. And we've started last couple of years a burn boss workshop, which we're running all of these out west to try and increase the confidence and competence of the burn bosses, mostly in the federal agencies out west. And then we had our first ever UAS Ignition Academy, and that was the first one ever put on in the US through the federal agencies. But we can't do it without our partners. And these are just a few of the partners across North Florida that we've got. And we have them across the Southeast, and as I said, beyond. PFTC does not have land that we manage. So we actually don't have a place to take people and put fire on the ground for their training. And the way we get that is through folks such as yourself. And we have burned on private lands, public lands at the state, local, federal, and also NGO sites. Without that, our people can sit in a classroom, but there's nothing about that experience and building confidence. So I really want to thank those who are up here, and if your agency or organization's logo isn't up here, I apologize. I probably didn't have one except for one I'd stolen off your website. And it looked really bad when I blew it up, sorry. So what do we get? We get people who are going out to learn how to put fire on the ground in our 20-day sessions. And these are just a few of our people who come to us, and those of you out there who are helping them get that experience. What do you get out of it? You get a group of 7 highly motivated people to learn about fire, to learn from you, and to help you put fire on the ground. Some of you are probably thinking, I don't need that. I understand. But somebody took the time to help you get to where you are. And I think it's incumbent on all of us in this room to have that same attitude for those who are following behind us. And so our partnerships are to work with you to supply you with 7 people who really are motivated to learn. But what do we get? They get the opportunity to be put in leadership positions. So if we come to you, we want our burn boss trainee to actually run the burn. That doesn't mean you hand them the plan and walk away, because if you do that, you get what you get, right? We want you to help them learn how to do it better. So our partnership it's a give and take. And it's been highly successful. Just over the last 5 years, and really you have to cut out the second half of 2020 and all of 2021. So these numbers are a little skewed. You can see who we burned with, the number of different units of that organization, and then how many burns we actually did. So Florida Forest Service and Florida DEP, 15 and 16 different units, and 104, 102 burns in that time frame. That's work on the ground that many of the people coming through will never have that opportunity to get on their home unit as things are right now. You know, you go down to University of Florida, down at the bottom, 1 unit, but they've hosted us for 52 different burns in that time frame. Thank you, Ordway Swisher Biological Station. We just need your land and your experience. So some of our accomplishments since 1998, which was when the center started. We've burned in 10 states. Last month, we burned in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina, South Carolina and North Carolina, with 5 modules. They were moving, but we've also been able, as you can see, to add a couple other states that we didn't hit this time, Texas and Arkansas. So this doesn't include this last month's information. We've been able to be on and be in a leadership position of some type on over 3,500 burns in that time frame. Once again, none of that's on our land. That's on y'all's land. We've burned over 1 million acres since '98. And of that, you know, almost a third of it has been in the wildland-urban interface. We only started keeping track of our training assignments for the people coming through in 2003, but you can see we've got almost 7,700, well, I know now we have over 7,700 training assignments, counting March's stuff. And those are the different areas that our trainees bring task books to work on. We've hosted participants from 50 states. Thank you, Rhode Island, last year with an agency administrator. I was sure we'd never get anybody from Rhode Island, but we did, and 17 foreign countries. So which countries come the furthest to burn with us? Australia, who said Australia? Right. Who's come the shortest distance? That's an international. It's probably knowing where they came from, it's probably a tie between Mexico and Trinidad. But I'd probably go Mexico. We started in 2017 a fire leadership for women. And this module, we run 3 of them, one in January, one in February, one in March, is all female. And if you look at the federal workforce, and that's who the majority of our students are, over 70% of them are federal employees. 10% of the fire workforce is female. And so what are the reasons that has? There's numerous, and we can go into them, or we can have a discussion at some point if you'd like to know more. But the idea is, how do we get people and keep them? And so 2 of our female field coordinators came up with this idea. Why aren't we finding a way to build a network of women firefighters who can support each other. And we run these modules just as we run any of our other modules. It's just a little different that when they show up, it's 7 women or sometimes 8. We try to get some trainee field coordinators, or I'm sorry. There's a term we're supposed to be using. Apprentice field coordinator, that doesn't sound right either. So they've, it's been highly successful, and of those women who've come through, many of them who went back to their units. What we got back from the supervisors there is, I can't believe the confidence that she now has. And so we feel really good about what we've been able to do with this. We have had one state of Florida employee come through as a participant in these, and hopefully she would say the same thing, that she felt empowered and more confident when she went back to her home unit. We then decided during the COVID break that we were working on other types of training things. And one of the things we got from a lot of our participants was, yeah, you show us how to do ignitions, but it's in some grass field in Oklahoma. And we want to know what it looks like when there's pine trees in it. So a year ago, March, we did a series of ignition types in Southern Pine area, east of here, with cooperation of U.S. Forest Service, Tall Timbers, us, and the Nature Conservancy. And this is just one of them, but the idea was to give them an idea of what happens when you play with your ignition techniques. This one was inline dotting. We also did strip head, which everybody knows what happens with strip head fires. We also did flanking fire, and then we did an ignition video of random dots. And to get a look at how it changed over time has really been helpful to those people who are coming from some other place in the country. And what's the first thing that many of the people from out west tell us? Well, you don't have elevation. You don't have slope. Where you burn is easy. Yeah, I asked them to come back down here in May or June and tell me how easy it is. I also asked them at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which way's your wind blowing? And they know out there, it's blowing up slope. I said at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which way's the wind blowing down here? Any damn way it wants to. So we've made a believer in some of them, not all of them, but some of them, that fire is fire. It's your knowledge and experience of putting fire on the ground will benefit you. It doesn't matter where you are, but you need to ask about what works where you are. And so as this video plays out, we always had trouble teaching dot ignition to people coming down. They got it if it was from a helicopter, but they didn't get it when they were doing it on the ground. And we showed these series of videos, and our February group went out to one of the sites, and the field coordinator, who'd been here a number of times, said, I don't know what happened with that video, but this is the first time ever one of my modules got it and figured out that when you're dotting, you need to think about distance between the dots and distance between the lines that are putting dots across. And so we had just a simple little diagram here. Wind is from the bottom of the screen. And once we showed them that, they started to figure it out. And so we feel pretty good about where we're going. We need a lot more work. Our strip head fire was over so fast, we didn't get very good video of it. But so we're hoping to get a few more. We want to play a little more with how can you set one simple black line and then pull the fire in with flanking fires. We tried to get that. It didn't show as well. We learned a lot from our first attempt at it, but we hope to have these up on our YouTube site, hopefully by the middle of next month. So, and then I mentioned our agency administrator workshop. This has been really successful and has jumped over the last probably 5 years. We run 2 of them a year and 30 people in each. And we get about 120 to 130 people apply every year to get into it. And they're almost all federal employees. We occasionally get some state employees from around the country to come in. And we teach them to understand how to work with fire staff. We teach them to understand their burn plan and what does it mean and what should they be diving into the weeds on and what they should trust their fire people to understand to do. So you can see, our objectives from it, but it's really driven, and we put together the whole workshop based on what do they want to get out of it. And I think if you've never gone to a training where the first day they ask you, what do you want? And they list all these ideas of the things they want to get out of the workshop. Then a gentleman sitting in here, Gary Jarvis, takes all those, puts them all together, divides them into categories as they fit. And the cadre for the next 5 days figures out ways to give them what they want out of the workshop. And that includes a half day for each on burn plans, and they've each submitted a burn plan from their unit, which tend to get pretty red from the cadre who are going over them. And then they do a day of sand table exercise, where we put them into positions that some of them are quite uncomfortable with. And we switch the positions they're in so that they end up in 3 different positions around this sand table. And any decision that the first group makes, the second group inherits. And it's let people really understand their thought processes. But we also put them out in the field for 2 days of burning. And we do that with our partners. And our partners have been exceptional in providing their top people to come and talk about what it means to have a fire program working for them and what do they want to get out of their fire program. And we've worked with a number of the water management districts, federal and state partners to give great presentations that has meant a lot to these people as they start thinking about what it means for them to run a program. As I said, we started this interagency burn boss workshop. We began it in 2019 in Idaho. We held the 2021 version in Idaho as well. And the 2022 version is scheduled for this May in Utah. And it's really to work on professional development of those people who've become qualified as burn bosses, but maybe they need to rethink how their program runs. Maybe they're starting to think that, well, I'm burn boss, so I'll run all the burns we've got here, because we only do 4 a year, 5 a year. So we're the people coming up behind them getting experience. How are they learning to do it? So it's an idea to just work on their program, but in particular, that last one, building those soft skills. Everybody in here understands fire to some extent or another. We wouldn't be here if we didn't. But as Coakley Taylor once told me, It's not about knowing what the fire is going to do. It's more about managing the people who are going to do something with the fire. And I think that's what we're really trying to help these people get. And this year, for the first time ever, as I said, we did this UAS Ignition Academy. This is the culmination for these students. They've been to 2 other academies, one to learn how to fly drones, second to learn how to use them in the wildland setting. And then this one is how to actually put fire on the ground, whether it be in a wildfire or prescribed fire setting. And we ran it from Tall Timbers. And the one thing, and then they went out in the field for 2 weeks. But the one thing that I got from students and from the instructors is the Southeast is the place to run this. And it's because, one, the amount of fire that happens. 2, the amount of aircraft that you have to deal with in this area. They can go out on some of their units out west, and unless there's a wildfire, there's never a helicopter or airplane that goes over their property. That doesn't happen here, as we all know. And third, the ability to, for the training portion, the first week, to be able to do something inside, come outside, see it done, and then practice it right there. And we have that ability in the Southeast to do that. But we can't do it without our cooperators, because once again, we can offer this course, but we need places where they can go. Though the end of February, it was really done through the very last week of February and first few weeks in March. And as you saw Andy's talk earlier, we got a lot of rain across the Southeast in March. So some of them only got 5 or 6 opportunities to get up, but they still learned quite a bit. So all I want to say about us is we believe in this slogan. Every day is a burn day and a learning day. But that doesn't mean every day is an implementation day. If you're not thinking about burning, putting in the lines you need, writing your plans, going out and checking after the burn, doing some type of monitoring to show that why you did the burn actually accomplished what you said you were going to do in your plan, that's all part of a burn day. And so we try to instill that in everybody who comes to see us, that every day's a burn day, but every day's a learn day too. And our partners are the only way we get this done. So if you're not a partner, I can think of one agency in here that isn't, and you would like to be a partner for us, let's talk. If you are a private landowner, we do work on private lands through some other agencies. So in Georgia, with the Georgia Forestry Commission, we almost exclusively burn on private lands through them. They have the agreement with the landowner, and those people offer up their lands for us to burn on. We'd love to become partners with you. And for those of you we already are partners with, thank you so much. And we'll be seeing you out on your land and flipping a match someplace soon. Thanks.